Good morning and welcome to Today in L.A. I'm Mike Amos. He's Bill Rice Jr. And we're ready to start a Friday, the 28th day of February. Now, this is a leap year day. Is that right?
Well, I asked you a couple days ago, and you said this is leap year, so that means we got 29 days in February, correct?
Do we? I don't remember saying that because I don't know myself, you know.
Well, I was thinking about paying a bill, and I know it's due at the end of the month, and I said, well, what day should I mail it on?
Well, I still got my jacket on, and it's a heavy frost out there. I bet the field next door to you was pretty this morning.
Well, I'm almost late because I had to wait until my the ice on my windshield I couldn't see to drive.
All right, now tell me what you do. You don't pour hot water on it, do you?
Well, if I had time or the inclination and was smart, I would, but I just turned on the defrost thing, and it wasn't too hot. So I sat in my road for about a minute waiting for the ice so I could see good enough.
You live in a beautiful area, especially looking over Chip Colley's old place, and now it's just beautiful.
Out the side of my house, my view is of the old Colley house, which Dwayne and Connie Webb own now. They're great, fantastic neighbors. And it's all these pecan trees. It's like a pecan orchard.
Yeah,
they keep up their yard beautifully, and there are deer in it all the time. And so it really is a beautiful little view.
Right before I got home the other night, 4 big, I'm talking about big doe. I mean, they were big doe, strong-looking doe, walked right in front of me. I mean, I'm talking about when they saw me, they finally took off, but they just walked right in front of me. Oh, yeah. But you know, Crow Hill's full of deer. I mean, it's got woods. Anywhere there are woods, there's going to be deer. And like you said, you get to see them. I
see them almost every day at my house. And I counted 14 one time in Connie's yard. 14, and then I've never seen any big bucks with their racks. But I was visiting with her the other day, and she saw some, and she took pictures with her phone, and she showed me, and they were impressive looking, 2 of them that were over there.
Oh, yeah.
Big bucks.
Right down the street was Dr. Johnny Long's house. I'm sure
right. 3 doors down is
a lot of people parked up there.
Johnny Long's house.
And the funeral was beautiful. I hope a lot of you got to see it on our Channel 2 yesterday, and it was a beautiful, beautiful ceremony held at the gorgeous First Methodist Church. Had all the doors opened, and they had the orchestra, the Pike County Orchestra played, and they were outstanding. And
that orchestra is bigger than I thought.
Played.
Yeah.
And the great one sang. You know who I'm talking about?
Phil Kelly?
You're right. Bill Kelly sang Amazing Grace. And was beautifully well done. And a huge crowd was there. They say was it standing room only. You could have squished a few more in, but not many. It was so beautiful and so well done. And they were very prepared, and then, of course, the final resting place is the beautiful, beautiful church located on the university.
That's the Sorrell Chapel?
Yeah, the Sorrell Chapel, and his grave will be placed right next to Dr. Adams and Miss Adams' grave, and, of course, one day when Miss
Long,
Mary Lynn goes, she'll be placed next to
her husband.
Her husband, and
69 years.
And I tell you what, and it would not be a bad omen that one day the chancellor and his wife could go there. Beautiful, beautiful setting though at the. And of course,
you said the orchestra played.
I would say 500 people were. I would say in the general area of the beautiful church there on campus.
Oh, and then the music accompanied.
And the music, and I told somebody, I said, listen, let's go over to the university because, hey, his favorite song has not been played yet, and that was the Stars and Stripes Forever, and it was well done.
And they played it?
Oh, yeah. The flute players, did their thing, and it was really something. It was beautiful. And a lot of his old friends were there, and a lot of his his former students, and they were so proud. And I tell you what, right now, I will self-proclaim the 27th day of February as Johnny Long Day until we croak. You know what I'm talking about, until we croak?
Well, I think I do.
On this show, Johnny Long Day. Let's every year at this time, I could see people gathering somewhere in Troy and sitting down at a table with white cloth on it and listening to the orchestra at Troy University play over, or the band.
And telling Dr. Long stories.
Telling Dr. Long stories, and people, putting on a show every year at this time to honor Dr. Long. And I think it's very fitting that that date would be great. And I'm sure you could send out the news to a lot of his former alumni and friends, and there'd be a big crowd.
I will say that the population of Troy would be, what would you say, 300 less than it is if Dr. Long had never came to Troy, because think of all the people that came for his band that stayed in Troy, and their families stayed in Troy.
Exactly, no question about it.
And they have been important citizens of this community for 30, 40 years.
Yeah. Of course, I'm sitting here with my leather jacket on, and boy, what a good-looking shirt there, man.
Well, thank you. I might as well wear my winter shirts while it's still winter.
I know it. And, of course, it is Friday. Thank goodness it's Friday. Pike LeBlanc has a new head coach, and our cameras were out there yesterday morning as they celebrated the naming of the new coach. His name is Mario White. He has been named as athletic director and head football coach at Pike LeBlanc. The announcement came early today at the pep rally where Pike varsity basketball teams were celebrated for their runs in the Alabama Independent School Class 3A state playoffs. The varsity boys were recognized as the state runner-up in Class 3A, and the varsity girls were recognized in their regional championship and Final Four appearance. So big year for Pike LeBlanc's basketball headmaster Eric Burkett told the students there was more reason to celebrate. And after his introduction highlighting his background and success, Coach Mario White entered the gym to a white, sharky, freezy, let's see, for the red, let's see what it said. It entered the gym to a white shaker frenzy. And good morning, you on today in LA. How you doing?
Hi, morning.
Where you calling from, sir?
Cold Graydon Beach, Florida. It's 39 degrees.
Well, I tell you what, it was 28 out at the airport this morning, and it's snowing galore above Birmingham.
It's not as cold as...
Where's the snow in what, Huntsville?
Huntsville, the Huntsville area, but more than anything over in the Florence area.
What about Jackson, Mississippi? I heard it snowed in the ponds.
I think it's snowing everywhere that place song goes. Mike,
not many days. You wake up and Troy University's playing number one in a sport in the country. 3-game series against Florida. I mean, get a chance to knock off number one 3 days in a row. I'm really excited to watch these games if I get a chance.
Well, let me tell you this: I need to be there. That would be a great weekend to watch Troy play Florida in baseball.
Surely you you got some friends that have airplanes. Why don't you just get on an airplane and go?
Yeah, I need to call Michael Precise up and tell him to fly me down there. You know, he's a former player.
Fly me to the moon.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be beautiful weather, too. I mean, it'll probably be even warmer down that way.
Yeah, it would be. And I tell you, and also Troy's playing in Mobile. The girls and the boys are playing in Mobile this weekend.
I would stay for the girls' game. I don't know if I could watch the 9 and 21 Trojans play.
Yeah. Pike Liberal Arts named a new head coach, Mike. His name is Mario White, and he was actually worked with Nick Saban's program at Alabama.
He was a special assistant.
I read that article. I'd never heard that name before in my life, but you know, Saban has so many guys that work for him. I mean, I guess he was strength and conditioning, and then was apparently an aide to Saban as well. I mean, I personally never heard of him, but apparently he was a junior high coach at Tuscaloosa Academy, and apparently coached some other sports out there as well. But
I was very impressed with him in the interview. He talked about putting God first in your life, and he really came over strong. And he said, we're going to work hard. We're going to work honest on and off the field. I'm excited about to play a leadership role in this school, and it was very impressive. You know, that new floor is beautiful out there. Have you seen it?
I don't see it on TV. I haven't seen it in person.
Beautiful floor, and the gym looks like it's brand new, and it was very impressive. Coach White played baseball.
It looks like he's got 3 kids that play sports, probably.
Yeah, the shortstop is one of the top shortstops in the state, Mike. One of the top players in the state of Alabama.
Is he a junior or a senior?
I think he's just a junior. And he can come and play for Pike right now. Did you know that? He can play shortstop for Pike right now. If they,
What's he play at Tuscaloosa Academy?
Yeah, plays at Tuscaloosa Academy, and he'll be moving into Pike as of today, probably. And,
I'd already read he'd already been at Pike getting ready for the season.
Yeah.
So apparently this was known for a while.
Well, I'm reading the press release Mike has, and it says that Coach White was a baseball player at Sanford.
Yeah, they said he was White family is moving from Tuscaloosa, where he was on staff at the University of Alabama as a strength and conditioning coach under Scott Cochran, and a special assistant to Nick Saban. And he's at Pike.
He's got Josh Chapman, the former player. He's an assistant. Terry Jones, who's been with Alabama's weight program for 50 years, it seems like. You got Kendall Moorhead, a former player that's a strength and conditioning guy. You got about 6 guys under Cochran. Isn't that crazy?
That's right.
Have 6 guys under Cochran.
Yeah, and Coach White coached at Tuscaloosa Academy and previously coached at Stillman College. Coach White received his degree from Sanford, where he played baseball on full scholarship. And everybody's excited, and I was very impressed with him. A very impressive young man.
He used to be the head coach of Pike Liberal Arts, so it wasn't a big deal?
No, I didn't do that, but I was there with our cameras, and we were very pleased with the way things took place out there.
So to give people a history out there listening, when did Pike Liberal Arts start? You would know better than anybody.
1970, I want to say 70, 69, 70. First football team, I think, was 70.
And you coached in when, 72?
Something like 72, and was too young to be a head football coach. Let me tell you.
When did the great Dwight Ward get there?
He got there probably in the mid-70s or something like that. But I tell you what, it was impressive. You walk in that gym, I mean, he had to be impressed. Of course, the cheerleaders have won the state championship, and we're talking about a competitive cheerleading group, you know, the Alabama Independent Schools, and Pike has won it 7 years in a row. Isn't that unreal, the state championship? And, of course, they put on a big show yesterday, and the whole student body from the kindergarten kids all the way to the seniors with that.
Well, Pike is going to become a sports juggernaut. It already is. I mean, they're a powerhouse in baseball. Basketball team almost won 2 state championships this year. Football team, it's just a matter of time. What else is there?
This move is really for football more than anything. I mean, all the other sports are really competitive.
It says here that Coach White, his wife Bridget, have 3 children. Mays, who's an 11th grader, and he's the one that's so good as a shortstop in baseball. Amity is a 9th grader, and Ivy is an 8th grader. So he's got 2 girls that are athletes, and and they're excited about them being players at Pike. Pike was founded in 1970, and it says here
50 years old.
K4 through 12 grades, and I'll tell you what, during the interview he was very impressive, and I told him this, Mike, that it doesn't hurt that he comes from Holt, Alabama.
Yeah, the great Johnny Williams.
The great Johnny Williams.
How about that? Yeah.
And of course, we're excited about all this. And
Did he know Johnny? When you wrote him?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I in the interview, I told him that Johnny was a good friend of ours. We might call Johnny later and get the scoop on Mario. I'm sure Johnny knows him.
I tell you what, you don't know many people in Tuscaloosa don't know who Johnny Williams is.
I know.
I lived there 2 different times, and so many people know the Williams family.
Oh yeah, they're legendary.
They know that real friendly brother Steve too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And Steve, they're fixing to move in that new facility up there too. He just built a new bowling alley and amusement in Tuscaloosa.
Johnny's brother?
Yeah.
Kind of like a Damon Buster's.
Yeah, that's right. It's something like that.
Awesome.
And it's something that's been in the waiting for a long time.
I hope they buy some ads in the Tuscaloosa News for my brother Bobby.
But it's exciting times at Pike Liberal Arts, and they're ready to go. And I tell you what, something that you'll here is a picture of him, and he is ready to go. And well, about as far as we can get. We can't get any closer than that, I don't believe. But
that's an impressive
that's Terry
looking.
Jones. Wait a minute, that wasn't him. That was Terry Jones.
What Terry Jones says about him, yeah.
It says Pike is making a good hire with Coach Mario as an athletic director and head coach. His background in strength and conditioning will help your athletes to become bigger, faster, and stronger. He is a family man, a parent, and his work ethics make him a great coach. Terry Jones, one of the all-time great players at Alabama and assistant head strength
Look, I got a quote from John Copeland, the All-American Alabama football player. What's he say?
That's right. It said Pike Liberal Arts is getting a great coach and a better person. Coach White and his family will be a great role model for your school and athletic programs. I really hated to see Coach White leave our program because of the standard of excellence he has instilled in our young men. We wish the best. He will be missed. Varsity head football coach at John Copeland, former University of Alabama All-American and former first-round draft for the.
And he's the head coach of Tuscaloosa Academy football team.
That's
now.
right. That's right.
He was also a personal trainer up there for a while. I had a buddy that got in shape with Copeland. He still looks like he can play.
Yeah.
Phenomenal shape.
I've seen him on some of John Copeland on some of his documentary shows about the '92 Alabama team.
Here is a picture.
He's real sharp, well spoken.
Here is a picture of Coach White, and a very good picture here of him and his family, and a beautiful family. And I know Pike Liberal Arts and the people out there are really excited about this guy coming to town. Mike, he was a big-time influence on a lot of those kids at University of Alabama, and Pike Liberal Arts really got a good one. I was talking with the Allen family. You know, they have roots at least with Allen, our legislator.
Roots. I would say that his dad's been a congressman there for what, 30 years?
Yeah, and he knows this guy well, and he knows this family well, and Pike Lawrence has really pulled off a coup to get him to come and coach their kids, and I know they're excited.
Yeah, he had Ponder that pitched at the University of Alabama, and this guy worked at the University of Alabama. They got a big Alabama connection at Pike Lawrence.
Yeah, and he was an outstanding baseball player in his own right at Stanford, and then you look at his kids, and man, you talk about a good-looking son, a shortstop, and daughters are just lovely as they can be, and it's a beautiful family. And
you know, initially we heard they're going after Carr. Of course, everybody wants Carr because he wins so many games, and then you even heard names like Hugh Fountain leaving Scambia Academy and coming back to Troy, where he was for 16 years, and you heard all kinds of different names, but apparently John Ramit kind of had this guy waiting in the wings the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
An Alabama connection as well, going to school there and being a big Alabama family. So
yeah.
Hopefully it works out well.
I think it will, no question about it.
I feel like we're going to see pretty soon Pilot Arts move up to a public school schedule and play 1A, I would think.
Well, you know, it's you know, I haven't talked to you, but I'll be honest with you, that's something that I'm sure is going to be considered, because, and if they do, boy, look out. Look out. That would be something.
Well, I mean, you look at the blueprint in Tuscaloosa, I mean, ACA, American Christian Academy, of course, they're coached by Trotter.
By who?
Not Trotter, but the former South Carolina quarterback.
I know who you're talking about.
Chris Smelley's the quarterback, and then his brother played at Alabama.
That's right.
You know, they're like 3A or almost 4A now in public school.
Yeah, exactly right. You notice I still have my jacket on. It's sort of cold in here today, and of course, normally this facility, our studio, is not that cold, but it's sort of cold this morning, and rightfully so. It was 28 degrees at the airport this morning, 32 in downtown Troy.
Michael, did you watch the combine and watch Ruggs run last night?
Yeah, that's funny. That's exactly what I was about to ask you. I didn't get the chance to watch him run. I saw the time, but is it weird that I feel disappointed? He ran a 4.27 because everybody was saying he was going to be 4.2 or at least 4.22 and tie the record.
Well, he did great, but you're right. The hype and expectations were so much that it made it a disappointment. But he ran the fastest time anybody's run this year easily. I thought it was a 4.28, but sometimes they adjust it later. And the next fastest time for the wide receivers was 4.36. The all-time record at the combine is 4.22 seconds, which some guy ran a couple years ago, and there was big speculation that Ruggs might beat that record.
Yeah, Ruggs, ran great, but I tell you, he really kind of hurt himself was Judy. Judy was saying he was going to be under 4.4. I think he ran a 4.46, which is still fast. But I am blown away that Jalen Hurts is 6'1", 220 pounds, ran a 4.5.
Oh, man, that is fast. I didn't realize he was that fast. You're right.
And I watched him throw the ball some, Michael. They had all the quarterbacks throwing their routes, and looked to me that Jalen was throwing the ball real good, and the people that were commentating on the NFL Network were bragging about Jalen. And I thought Judy's time was, it was up there. It's one of the faster times. 4.46 is plenty fast. I mean, and he's not known for being the speed merchant. So I wouldn't be surprised if he still ends up being the first receiver taken.
Yeah, they're saying it's going to be either him or the great Oklahoma receiver, C.D. Lamb. I guess I could just ask Jalen Hurts who was better.
Can I say one? I've been really got into this draft and combine stuff, and one guy for the NFL Network, now there's about 5 or 6 draft gurus, Mike, all these people that are famous for picking who's going to get drafted where and when. And they scroll across the bottom of the screen, and it says somebody's first round projections. There were 7 Alabama players that this guy projected going in the first round out of 31, which, to give you some perspective, The all-time record is 6 from one college. Miami Hurricanes had it about 15 years ago. The record for Alabama's players going in one round is 4. I thought there might be 4 or 5 that went in this first round, but this guy says 7 could go in the first round for Alabama.
Well, they're almost saying locks right now. You got Judy is going to be a lock. Ruggs is now a lock. Tua's a lock. And now they say Wills is the best tackle.
Yeah.
Who got, literally a false start, maybe 2 false starts a game.
That's 4 on offense.
And then they're saying Xavier McKinney, the safety, is a lock first round or something.
And then the other 2.
At least 5, they think for sure.
And then the other 2 that this guy had were McKinney. Diggs, the cornerback, is now considered one of the number 1 or 2 cornerbacks. And who's the big defensive lineman, Raekwon Davis.
Raekwon Davis, yeah.
That's 7. Who's not in that list, but who some people are high on is the outside linebacker that was so injury prone, the edge outside linebacker. Lewis.
Yeah.
Now, that's Alabama. Also, Auburn is kind of gone under the radar. Derek, what's the defensive lineman's name? Derek Brown.
Derek Brown's going to be probably a top 10 pick.
Well, some people are saying number 2, as high as number 2 overall in the draft. Definitely the first defensive lineman.
Then Davidson out of Greenville, Montgomery. He'll be probably a first-round pick.
Possibly first, maybe second. So Auburn could have 2 in the first round, too. And Davidson is from nearby Greenville.
Mountain Brook won yesterday, Dad. Did you see that? 70 to 60 over Fairhope.
All right, so they're playing for the championship. Mountain Brook.
I'm sorry. I think I told everybody Brundage was playing yesterday. Probably Canada was going to play yesterday, but they actually played today.
Yeah, they play today at 2:15 against Lauderdale County. So wouldn't that be something to see Pike County and Charles Henderson both bring home state championships? Charles Henderson plays tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. I still think that's just asinine that they're playing that early in the morning. Expect people to get up. That means most everybody's going to spend the night in Birmingham. And
I'm having the pep rally for the girls today at school, my wife.
all right, well, good. I'm glad to hear that. And they play at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Against a very good Madison Academy team.
Yeah.
We saw their record was good, and we know it's a private school that they can probably bring in some really good players. And then of all people, Will yesterday called them from Ozark, and somehow he knows that they've got 2 players from Madison Academy that have already committed to big colleges.
Yeah.
So this might be
What colleges are they going to?
Well, he didn't say. We didn't say. He didn't say.
It didn't say, but that's
I'll have to check on Will's journalist if this is really true or not.
Well, we're
Of
good.
course, want to congratulate Elba's girls. They made it to the tournament, but lost to Spring Garden. But again, Charles Henderson plays at 9 o'clock in the morning from the Jefferson Birmingham Jefferson Civic Center in Birmingham, and that's located in downtown Birmingham too. But you can take I-65 though, Mike, and go off.
Yeah, go
and
on.
then
Everything's open again. All the road work completed, so you can.
It's just one exit, isn't it?
Just look for the big Sheridan downtown, and you'll be there.
yeah, but you leave 65 and get on 57, don't you?
Well, I mean, you can go different ways. I mean, you could go 280 to Red Mountain Expressway and go that way, or you could just go 65, cut over to 2059 and hit downtown that way.
That's what you do.
Either way you want to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, you go 65 to 2059, and like you're heading toward Gadsden, and it's not far off of the 65, so be easy to find.
You could stop and have lunch at Ted's, or
I doubt if Ted's would be open.
Remember the big barbecue place in Birmingham at one time? Wasn't it Ollie's or what was it?
Yeah, well, they still have some great places to eat. One of my favorite places is located right downtown and off of let's see. So what is our restaurant, Mike, that you and I like so much?
It's off where?
Off of we're talking about our restaurant that we like so much.
In Birmingham.
Yeah.
Nicky's?
Nicky's West, but see, they won't be closed. They won't be open.
That's off Finley.
Yeah, they won't be open on Saturday.
Yeah, they're open for breakfast on Saturday.
They are. So, boy, that'd be a great place to eat breakfast.
Are they famous for breakfast?
Yeah, well, they're famous for everything.
They're famous for the meat three.
But it's a buffet. But now, would the buffet be open on Saturday?
Yeah, but it's not going to be open till 11.
Oh, okay. So I thought you said they had a good breakfast.
Well, they do have a breakfast, but you have to order off the menu for breakfast. They actually have really good steaks and seafood at night. You can order off the menu, too.
Yeah, exactly.
But champion in 1A yesterday, boys. This must have been a great game. Pickens County, 57, Lynette, 55.
Oh, man, that was a great one.
And there were two Alabama football signees that played in that basketball game against each other.
Yeah, the quarterback, is he a real good basketball player?
I bet he
quarterback
He's a great athlete.
And
some defensive lineman that he was 290 pounds, and they say he's down to 265, and he seems to be a really good basketball player. And you know what I say, if you're a defensive lineman and you can move well enough to play basketball, you're probably going to be good.
Agility. And that was a great game as Pickens County defeated Lynette for the championship, and so congratulations.
You know, the things you remember, when I was in high school, we always had good basketball teams, and I went to all the Charles Henderson basketball games. And I remember one time Charles Henderson played Northview, and the big thing was Northview was Larry Roberts was on their basketball team. You remember him?
Yeah, played Alabama.
He was the #1 football prospect in the state as a defensive lineman. Had a real good career at Alabama, and later a good career for the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah,
but I remember watching him play basketball against Charles Henderson.
Yeah, exactly right. I don't know if it's us looking at our camera, but boy, I got a good beard, it looks like. I don't know why. Hopefully that's not happening over there.
I just need a haircut. I can't. I tell them cut my bangs, and they don't cut my bangs.
Okay, go to it is a Friday.
They say one of the dangers of the coronavirus is having a beard, because the beard collects so many germs. So,
Are you serious? Are you serious?
I read an article about it. I talked to my mom yesterday. She said this is more reason than ever to shave your beard.
That's right. Have you shaved it yet?
I tried to explain to her that I've had a beard for 20 years. I don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, I tell you, I hope this something that's going to be able to. I tell you, it can mess up a lot of things. This virus, and
just in the economy, yeah.
Yeah, and if it gets into the United States, then it could be bad. Well, I know it, but in a big way, you know.
Yeah.
Boy, I tell you, I'm praying for.
Well, did you see what happened to the stock market yesterday?
Yeah.
You need to pray for the summer to get here, the weather to get here quick. I think that would help it.
Well, you know the Olympics were supposed to start this summer in Japan. Is that right?
They're going to have to make a decision. They said 3 months before at least, and there's a good chance. I was listening to Dan Patrick's show. That's crazy you say that the Olympics could be canceled.
Oh yeah,
that would be so.
You know, anywhere and one of the things that they're talking about is you don't need to go where there's a lot of people.
Yeah, that would be it.
I mean, like a stadium, football stadium.
From all over the world,
stadium,
literally, yeah.
Yeah.
I bet they might end up canceling it.
They could cancel a lot of things.
Like your daughter's going to the Atlanta airport and they're going overseas. That could be a bad place.
My daughter is going to spend 3 nights in Paris, and then she's going to Morocco. What's in Morocco?
Apparently, great. What was she telling me? There's a lot of fabrics and a lot of amazing rugs. And
she's going with 15 other girls. Is that right?
Yeah. I was worried about this. When did I go to Vegas for my anniversary on the 6th? I was worried about this even back then, and now we're at the 28th of February. So definitely a lot more.
So Michael
people worry
goes
about it now.
and spends a couple nights at Vegas where he's buying the $29 mixed drinks, and then Camille's going to Paris and Morocco. Man, you got it. Your family's got it going on.
Well,
That's right. I'm all for it.
It's they, not me.
No, you're always talking about where am I going next. It's between am I going to Gainesville or am I going to Birmingham?
Well,
Trust me, Mike Amos has lived life to the fullest. There's no
yeah,
doubt
I
about
was
it.
fit to say it's about living life to the fullest.
Well, who was it? One of the Smith,
Hey,
one of the
they-
Smith brothers was on here yesterday and talked about his wife loves
yeah.
to travel, and apparently they've been everywhere in the
Oh,
world.
they have. She had anytime she puts on a trip, you ought to go. She's really, really good at it. And you're right. He's a world traveler. The whole family is, and
You know who did that?
they had a lot of fun. Yeah.
My mom and dad were like that, and I say there were. I would about every year, certainly every other year, they would go somewhere.
But what should we do? I mean, I notice Russia does not allow any Chinese in their country. Did you know that?
No.
I didn't know that.
They have a deal. I mean, some kind of
You're talking about travel ban.
travel. What I'm saying,
Well, I mean, everybody's banning the actual, I guess, the mecca of where all this happened. What area is it? Do you know, Bill?
Yeah, the city. I should know. I can't remember the name of it.
See, in Troy University, of course, a lot of their students, in fact, most of their students,
International students. Almost
are
all
from
of their
China,
international students.
from China.
I mean, you gotta look at it like the flu's killed I think 29,000 people I read this year, and I think this virus has killed 4,000 or 5,000.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh yeah. If you look at it, much more people have died from the flu.
they're saying that you could have it right now and have no clue you have it. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it affects people that are sick, that have immune issues.
Yeah, that had a lot. To
And
do
then
with it.
what people end up dying from is pneumonia. It's like really, I think the flu, and a lot of times these flu deaths you read about that are so high.
And if you already
if you
have
look
respiratory
closely, the
problems.
people are actually dying from pneumonia.
Yeah.
I mean, just do what I do every day. I wash my hands already about 30 times a day, and I have hand sanitizer everywhere I go. So I would just tell people to do that. And you should be all right.
And then if you get it, the mortality rate I think I've read is 2%, which is high. The flu is 0.1%. But still, say it is as high as 2%. That means you got a 98 out of 100% chance that you're going to not die from it.
Another thing, not to panic.
It's more prevalent in men than women too, they say.
Really?
And older.
Gosh, you're telling me a lot of things that I think everybody needs to know today.
Well, I mean, I've been reading up on it because I have little kids, 3 and 2-year-olds, and luckily
Sure.
kids so far have not been affected as much.
Well, again, I think it really.
I will say this: yesterday I was at a Dollar General and I was grabbing some stuff for the house, and I said, "Do y'all have any masks here?" And she said, "Honey, we've been selling out of those left and right."
Well, I told you. Did you hear my story yesterday about me being at the post office and
I told that story to somebody.
the young Chinese man had a huge box and it was surgical masks that he was sending back home to China.
Yeah. That's something that a lot of things, non-perishable items and so forth, it's not a bad idea to have some of that available, water and whatever, just in case that one day you might need them, because one day you might have to go to the store and not be able to find these things. So it's not a bad idea to buy some of those items and
China
have
has-
them there if you need them.
China is famous for being more free market now for the last couple of decades, and more open than it used to be, and I guess it is, but still, I don't get the feeling that we're getting the full picture, that there's a lot of journalists or people are free to talk, so you really don't have a clear picture of what life on the street in China really is. Like I mean, if you went to China, would there be nobody on the street? Would there be nobody working?
No, man, listen, we're talking about, like you said, I mean, they very heavily populated. I don't believe they've skipped a beat. I would think
They're still going to the factories and.
I would think so. Yeah, I would think so.
But then I hear accounts that say no. China. Some places in China have come to a halt.
everything is big over there. I mean, gosh, the population is unreal, and they've had, like we talked about yesterday, it's not easy to breathe over there anyway because of the smog, and they have a lot of coal.
Mm-hmm.
They get a lot of their energy through coal, and and that's going, that is not very conducive for outdoor activities.
I want to make a point about that. This man-made climate change that most people seem to believe is the crisis of our times. And so Americans have to do all these things to fight global warming. Don't use plastic bags, or don't use as much gas, or burn as much coal. And I think about all these restrictions they want to make on my life, and then I think about countries like China. I mean, you could ban the internal combustion engine, go back to making everybody riding a bicycle, and it would make no difference in the climate because China and countries like India are pumping out so much coal burns,
that's right.
fossil fuel. You're not even going to put it in. They're the ones that are.
And every few miles you'll see a big plant, to be able to keep their factories going and all that.
And they got to do it. Yeah. I mean, I don't really.
As I said something about China, that one of the things that stood out for me more than anything, I've said this before, they don't allow pickup trucks in Beijing. Beijing's the capital, probably got 15 million people or more. And of course, there's a lot of other bigger cities, but I mean, they do not allow it. Mostly, and if they do allow a truck, it's a small truck, the real small trucks. But you don't see those other big trucks in downtown Beijing, I promise you.
If you missed yesterday's show, Mike almost won a bet against Bill Rice Jr. We were betting about who had the greater population, China or India. And as it turns out, I said, it's obviously China. And I was right, but not by much. I mean, India is right there with China. Yeah. Well, I thought about that after the show.
Yeah.
And I realized why India had closed the gap so much. It's because China, for forever, and maybe still does, has this, they're greatly concerned about population growth. And so they have this one child.
Yeah, one child
policy.
Policy. I don't know if they've changed that.
I don't know either. But so obviously that's India does not. And they're catching them. Well, I guess we'll surpass them.
This is a funny article I'm reading right now. It's Garth Brooks, a legendary country music singer, was doing a show last night in Michigan, in Detroit, and he came out wearing a Barry Sanders jersey. So he did the whole concert in the Barry Sanders jersey, and everybody saw Sanders on the back, all these pictures.
Oh, gosh.
So all these people are coming out thinking he's a big pro
Barry
Sanders supporter, and there's all this uproar in the country music fans thinking he's a Bernie Sanders instead of a Barry Sanders. Anybody that's been alive in the last 30 years ought to know he's wearing a Barry Sanders football jersey.
And a Detroit Line football jersey.
No, but I mean, this world is just so crazy.
But let me tell you what somebody said to me the other day. If Bernie does get the nomination from on the Democratic side, is that all of these socialists in the country and young people, see, they think the young people, the middle of the road young people and lower income young people will rally to Bernie because of him being a socialist, because they said because everybody wants something free. And Bernie presents something free, free medical, free this, free that.
Anybody that has student loan debt,
everything is.
When Obama got elected, he gave a stipend to everybody, didn't he? Didn't he give something?
Yeah.
He gave money to everybody, didn't he?
I think Bush did that one time too, though. A little tax credit to stimulate the economy.
But what I'm saying is, he thinks that it will just ignite the young people to because of the socialism.
Yeah.
Can you believe that?
I mean, everybody in the Democratic Party is doing all they can to make sure he doesn't get elected. I mean, they're just bashing him left and right now. Everybody running against him.
But isn't it interesting, though, that I can remember the Reagan Revolution and, you know, the Rush Limbaugh phenomena, and it just seemed so obvious that conservative ideas and ideology was in ascension and beating the socialist ideas.
Yeah.
But now you look at the popularity of Bernie Sanders and you really start to wonder what America wants from its government.
Yeah. Jimmy Carter was not near at this time, when he ran for president. He wasn't near as popular as when he started winning these small,
Southern states.
These would go and get the more and more people in the North to support him. But what it is, the underdog, when the underdog starts moving, people start saying, well, he must be pretty good. Look, he did all this and he did all that. And he said, I like him. He seemed like a real nice guy. And they follow him. And before long, he's the front runner.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got here. We're going to put you on hold, Mike. You're on Today in L.A. Good morning.
Good morning, Mike.
Oh, man, the mayor of what's the name of that little town in Georgia? Scriven? What?
Yes, sir.
Scriven, Georgia, ladies and gentlemen. Spell Scriven, Georgia, so people can put this in their mind.
S-C-R-E-V as in Victor, E-N.
S-C-R-E-V as in Victor, E-N.
What's the closest big town y'all are near?
Big town would be Waycross, Savannah, Jekyll, St. Simon's Island.
So you're not too far from the Pacific Ocean, are you?
Hey, that's some pretty...
excuse me, the Atlantic Ocean. What am I talking about? The Atlantic Ocean.
That's the playground of some of the trillionaires in the world, isn't it, that area?
That's right. Davis Love lives down there.
Yeah, that's right. And, of course, do you go to the golf tournament when they have it and so forth?
I did go. Yes, sir.
Well, I don't know what happened to you the other night, but, of course, he drove over from Scriven. How far is that from Troy?
About 5.5 hours.
And you wanted to see your sweet daughter, who's a major red at Troy, is that right?
That's right.
And she also, she's a smart girl. She's from Scriven, Georgia, and she is a waitress at Ruby Tuesdays. And
well, she's probably waited on me.
And
then.
in fact, I asked for her, and she waited on me the other day.
What's her name?
Reagan.
Oh God, Reagan. We were just talking about Ronald Reagan.
And ladies and gentlemen, she's one of the top majorettes at Troy, and of course came to Troy after turning down some big schools like Florida and Florida State. She picked Troy, didn't she?
Yes, sir.
And of course, I know you're proud of her. Not only did she go to school, but she helps you out a little bit. I hear that she does pretty good at Ruby Tuesdays.
Yeah, she does real good. She's been blessed. I'm glad that her work ethic is what it is.
She's not afraid to work, and of course, when she's at home, did she work some part time then too?
She does. She does some little things. Just those small things, because she isn't home much anymore. At Christmas time, she'll dress up like an elf and visit homes and read bedtime stories to kids. I kept her booked the whole Christmas.
And she would sort of get tips. Is that right?
Hey, we need to bring her on the show some morning, Mike.
We will. I'd love to have her on here. No question about it. She's a sweet girl, and everybody at her work really likes her. I asked her. I said, "Is Miss Weaver going to be here today?" She said, "No, she's off." She does. But I caught her there the other day, and she waited my table, and I enjoyed it.
I like Ruby Tuesdays, but last time I took my kids, I got some kind of fancy lemonade, and it was $4.99.
Yeah.
I had sticker shock, and I said, I'm going to just have to boycott Ruby Tuesdays for a couple of weeks. That was my bad for not looking and checking the price first.
Not everybody now, listen, not everybody feels that way about Ruby Tuesdays.
I just said I love Ruby Tuesdays and go to them all the time.
In fact, what I like is their pork chop. Oh, boy, it is delicious.
Their salad bar, their food is what they're famous for.
Yeah, I love their salad bar, you're right. But, you know...
Hey, Mike, what about, and guess where I'm headed this weekend?
Gainesville.
Are you going to the Florida game?
I'm heading to Gainesville.
Oh, see, I needed to talk to you because I wanted to go. But now you go down 95, don't you? Or which way do you go?
I run 301 right in.
Now, how far is that from you?
About 3 hours.
That's not bad.
I tell you what, I am just tempted to go because I was wanting to see, especially I wanted to see Thomas pitch against them tonight. Of course, Troy plays Florida tonight. Florida's the number one ranked team in the college polls, and they're playing Troy, who is got to be ranked in the top 25, I would think. Wouldn't you say?
I would think too. Florida's got two kids from my area right here, freshmen that they're raving over. Left-hander come out of Camden County, St. Mary's, Barco, that got them out of the pitch against Miami last week and beat them. And then Nolan Crisp kid, that he should be about a sophomore.
All right, let me ask this. What time are you going to leave? What time's that game today?
I don't know what time it is today. I don't know if I'm going to make the game today. But what
See, that's when Troy's got his best shot because they're going to probably – or when are they planning on throwing Thomas?
Well, you know what? I ain't looked, but let me look. Is Mike Jr. on? He probably knows.
Mike, do you know Mike?
No, he's not. We never got back to him.
Oh, I got to get back to him. Hold on a second.
Okay.
All right, here we go. There we go. We got Michael back on the line. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm on.
All right. And, of course, Jason, the mayor of Scriven, Georgia, Jason Weaver is on the line, Mike. And guess what he just told me? That he's going to the baseball game. In fact, are you going to leave today or tomorrow, Jason?
I'll probably leave in the morning. You know, because the softball team's playing the Raging Cajuns, and me and old Glasgow's pretty good friends, the coach for the Raging Cajuns.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try to look at the times here and see if I can get a doubleheader while I'm there.
How could you do that?
Well, you go to both games at the same time, Mike.
No, but what I'm thinking about though, who is Troy playing?
Troy plays
I mean in softball.
No, I don't know who Troy's playing, but Florida is playing the Raging Cajuns.
No, Florida's playing the Raging Cajuns. The Florida baseball team.
No, softball team.
Softball.
Oh,
okay, I got you. And you're friends with the Raging Cajuns. Yeah.
Coach.
Well, Troy also plays the Raging Cajuns. That's why we got confused.
Yeah, and of course, I'll tell you this, Troy.
How do you know the Lafayette softball coach?
He is a very avid quail hunter, and he got some dogs trained by my brother up here, and so we got to be friends quail hunting. And matter of fact, he sent me a message the day before yesterday. He signed a girl out of Statesboro and said he'd be up here next winter. Wanted to make sure I had some birds ready.
I didn't know you're a big bird hunter.
How many people still quail hunted? I've heard that it's not as popular as it once was.
It is.
It's not. The free range birds are hard, but you know they got this new thing now where they put these birds out and then come back in about 30 minutes with a dog and it's
but you know
he does it, you know.
But I've been out there though, and man, you walk out there, there might be a dove in front of you. I mean, not a dove, but a quail in front of you, or a quail in back of you, a quail to the left of you. You don't know where they're going to be.
So what you're saying is people will bring in the quails and put them in the field.
Oh, yeah. they do that here in Pike County. Yeah.
We put them in everywhere like pine rows. Yeah, that's about how that and a pheasant hunt. That's how you do it. Pheasant hunts come out of a tower mostly, but it's kind of a fundraiser, money making thing. You get to go shoot quail because the days of shooting quail, like Mike's talking about, my papa and grandpa's, those days are over.
But now South, if there is any quail out there, they're in South Georgia. That's where all the reservations are. Isn't that right?
Well, just out of curiosity, what happened? What happened to all the quail?
Bobcats, fox, just over time, I guess.
I haven't done that in a long time.
You're right. I mean, my grandfather and even father used to go quail hunting all the time.
Yeah, sure did.
And then everybody used to go duck hunting more often than they do now, I think.
Yeah.
You got to think too. Quails love fence rows and farms, and there ain't no more fence rows no more. Everybody's going to pivot systems. You take the fence down and let's irrigate miles, instead of small fields.
Of course, you right here in Union Springs, Alabama, you got the dog trials. Does he come to the dog trials in Union Springs?
I'm sure he does.
See, it's one of the largest dog trials in the country. Is every year is in Union Springs. Used to be a big thing where all the college kids would go there.
It's a big party.
They don't have the big party part of it like they used to, but still big in Union Springs. We're talking to the mayor of Shriven, Georgia, Jason Weaver, and let's go back to this game.
I'm not seeing who they're going to start. Like I say, Mike may know because he probably.
Mike, do you know who Troy's going to start?
I think Levi Thomas. I would think he's their ace.
Yeah, and
is he denied or Mike? Do you know?
You usually start your ace on Friday night to start a series.
All right, the game tonight is at 6:30 their time. Is that right, or your time?
It's 6:30 my time.
Okay, 5:30 our time. Somebody told me the game on Saturday is going to start at 3 o'clock.
Well, it's got 3 o'clock your time because I'm looking at the Troy site, so it must be 4 o'clock my time because tonight's game's showing 5:30 on the Troy side.
I wonder if it's going to be on the radio locally. I mean, Barry McKnight probably has a basketball game.
Troy Sports Radio tonight and ESPN, SEC, ESPN Plus.
Yeah, how do you get...
I got a feeling Barry McKnight's going to this Florida series, and he'll send Doug Amos down to do the basketball game.
I wouldn't doubt it. All right.
He's a big baseball guy. I can't see him missing Troy playing number one 3 straight.
Well, then plus he went to college in Florida.
He's from down there.
He went to University of Florida.
All right, now listen. This is important. I'm trying to. A lot of this is going through my mind. If you're going to ever watch a Troy baseball game, it's either to watch them play for a national championship or a conference championship. But if you wanted to see a great Troy baseball game, it'd be this game right here, playing against the number one team in the nation. Troy is 7-1, and they've just been brilliant out of the box. And they've got a pitcher named Levi Thomas out of Coleman, Alabama, that's one of the top pitchers in America, Mike.
I'll tell you, this people around my area are talking about this because they know that how much I love Troy. But even if Troy doesn't win this series, they feel if Troy pulls out a win in this series, at least one. I think we win. I think we win 2 games. I'll be honest with you. But if they pull out one, look for Troy to make some noise in postseason.
Yeah, no question about it. Now, all right. Where's are you gonna go down through Jacksonville, Florida, or which way you gonna go down?
I go down to Folkestone, Georgia, and Callahan, and hang a right on 301 and run it.
And go to Lake City, or where do you go?
Yeah, it's through the woods, Mike. It really ain't no. You go through the town. It might be Lake Butler.
Yeah, but if I'm going, though, I'm going to go tonight because this is when it's a big night. All right, I've heard that this SEC Plus is going to be televising the game. I've heard that.
That's what I'm seeing here.
All right, but now how do you get SEC Plus, Mike? SEC Plus.
Well, I mean, it's just how you stream it, I can get it on my television because I have the ESPN app. A lot of people can watch it on their computers.
All right, now we can do that at the Troy Country Club because we got a whole wall of the big wall, and so we could be able to pick it up, don't you think?
Yeah, you better call Heath or whoever's in charge out there, and then tell him to do it.
Anybody can pick it up anywhere.
All right, how?
You use this app.
Download it on your phone.
Oh, you do it on your phone.
do it on your phone or your computer. It just depends if you have a smart TV or not.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I should. That one downstairs should be smart. It's a 70-inch TV.
It says Jerry Miller's doing all the games on the radio. Is what it says on TroyTreasures.com.
Does it? Wow.
Oh,
wow.
boy. And so that will be big.
Well, Jerry Miller's great.
Yeah,
Great job. I listened to him the other night. He did a great job in that game.
Oh, yeah, he does. He does a great
He
job.
was on the road with basketball.
Yeah, that's one thing about this time of year. It's got to be tough for McKnight to make those kinds of decisions.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with you still have basketball games, and then you got baseball games as well. That's got to be tough
I'm
for
thinking-
him not to want to go to all those games.
Yeah, and boys and girls basketball. You know, you got men's and women's, and if both of them are doing good, like the women's, man, they.
Do you think any of their games will be televised, the basketball?
Yeah, basketball games are always on ESPN Plus.
All right, and I want.
It will not be a Troy crew doing it. It'll be the South Alabama.
Michael, next time you come up to Troy and visit your parents, you got to do this for your dad. Train him on. I don't know how to do it either, but train him on these apps so he can get all these ball games.
Yeah, I had.
I don't know. I mean, Troy Cable probably doesn't want us talking about all this stuff. If it's not on Troy Cable,
No. Well,
they don't want us advertising it.
No, they don't care as far if you're talking about Troy, But
I never even asked that. I was Dr. Long's funeral.
it was wonderful. It was very well done. Very well done. It had perfect taste, no question. And of course,
All right, here it is. Levi's going tonight against Tommy Mace. Tomorrow, Orlando Ortiz is going against Jack Leftwich. And the kid from my area, Barco, is pitching Sunday against Tyson Ellis.
all right, Tyson Ellis of Troy or
Tyson Ellis is of Troy.
yeah, okay, it's going against your guy from Scriven.
Well, he's from Camden County, which is about
Yeah.
30 miles.
You know who else, Mike?
In the series, Troy's 1-4. That's what they're saying.
Yeah. I tell you what, though, I think Troy's going to play real well in this game. I noticed that. What did you tell me? It was 4 hours down there at Mike.
Right under 5 from Troy.
Right under 5. It'll take.
Why don't you get somewhere and hitchhike? Get Jason to pick you up.
Yeah, get Jason to pick me up. Yeah.
I don't think our roads come the same way, Mike, because I'll be coming from the East Coast, basically, up through the woods, and he's coming.
Well, let me tell you this, Mike. Jason, he knows how to operate. He had never flown in an airplane in his life, and he flies to Missouri. And when I fly in, he's already been all over town, ready the car and everything. This guy knows how to operate. I promise you.
I tell you what, talking back, that Miami team that Florida just beat, I think Florida's going to have to deal with them again. That's a real good Miami team.
Oh yeah, and Florida State's always good too. Is the guy still at Florida State, or did they hire a new coach?
Yeah, he's gone. They hired his son.
Oh, did they really? Oh man. Well, that's a pretty good program too. All those Florida teams are pretty good, aren't they?
Yeah, they're good. A lot of baseball players in Florida.
Mike Martin retired after they made it to the World Series, and he never won a national championship. I think he went to, what was I reading, 18 or 19 College World Series.
You know what? If I just went down there and came back tomorrow, it'd be worth going down there. I would love to see that game. I might go. If anybody out there want to go, call me.
It's 6:30 start time, our time, Mike, just so you know.
6:30.
Remember that in your travels.
All right, 6:30 Florida time, though. Is that right?
That's right. Eastern time.
Eastern time, and 5:30 Troy time. It does make you feel good that you can watch it on TV.
Well, I'll tell you who's going. Well, I guess Jerry Miller went with the team.
Yeah. I don't know.
You could wake up and watch Charles Henderson girls play basketball tomorrow morning, and then.
Well, what channel do you do that? Now, that's important. What channel do you watch that game?
It's some station out of Sylacauga. Surely Troy Cable will build a.
Steve, do you know what channel that game be on?
I want to carry that game.
And also the Brundage game today. The game with Brundage.
I think the stations have the option to pick it up.
Yeah.
Anyway, like WSFA or WAKA or the Dothan stations. It's just whether they decide to do it or not. I doubt they would do it for a girls' basketball game.
Watching the game so far?
Not that I've seen.
Steve, can you get those games on? Can we get those games on TV?
But for example, if Robert E. Lee is playing in it, maybe WSFA would, or some Montgomery station would carry Robert E. Lee.
You know, you got these 1, 2, 3. Channel 11 had some other channels.
Well, you think about the football playoffs; they cover a couple of those games. Some stations you see.
They call it, what do they call it? The TV that you get on Channel 12, something like that. You know, but evidently we don't know. Hey, is there any way? What channel can we get the basketball game on? Do you know? Oh, he's working on it now.
What about Mike? Have you been by football practice yet?
Yeah, I was there yesterday, and they look good. And let me just ask you this, Mike. There's another quarterback on campus, and he was really impressive running the football. He's a transfer from Ole Miss. Do you know about him?
Jacob Sadoya.
Yeah, who is this guy?
I read about him, but I mean, he was like fifth string at Ole Miss.
Yeah, he's a walk-on.
But let me tell you this, he got.
He's going to see the field.
Well, let me tell you this. Let me tell you something though. I was watching him, and I said, "Who is that guy?"
Yeah.
And he would run would look like a great runner, and was very impressive running. I asked one of the guys, I said, "Who is this guy?" He said, "Well, he's the guy that just came here from Ole Miss. He was a walk-on at Ole Miss, and he's walking on at Troy. And I'm gonna tell you what, he looked like the real deal running the ball."
Everybody looks like the real deal when they're in shorts and that.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll tell you one thing.
What,
I've heard
the basketball?
the kid from the transfer quarterback from JUCO.
Okay.
Doesn't look bad. The new one, and that gunner looks good. I mean, I've heard, but.
But then they say the guy that really looks good is the high school kid's not here yet.
Well, how's he
And that's
looking
a kid named, what's his name, Mike?
Kyle Toole.
Kyle Toole. Have you ever heard of him, Jason?
Oh, yeah, Lee County quarterback, absolutely.
Yeah, and of course he took them to 2 state championships, and it was runner-up this year, I think, or semifinals.
I'll tell you who he kind of will remind you of, Jake Fromm.
Oh, really? A lot like him? I was told by a couple of people that he might have been the best high school quarterback in Georgia. Have you heard that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I buy into that yet.
Yeah. But, let's just say this, that the big boys tried to get him.
The best high school quarterback in Georgia decommitted from Oklahoma and signed with Georgia. Brock Van Griff from Prince Avenue.
Where's Prince Avenue, Atlanta, or where?
Athens, Georgia.
Athens, okay.
Well, I hope he went to Georgia if he's from Athens.
Well, he committed to Oklahoma for over 2 years, and he flipped a couple of days before.
Well, they got the quarterback from their hometown, and they got Alabama's strength and conditioning coach. So this.
Yeah, I saw that.
Troy's wearing shirts saying "Beat Pine Bluff."
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe we can beat Arkansas Pine Bluff to start the season.
Yeah, that's what we open up with. But I will tell you this, though, back to the quarterback situation. They, of course, Troy got him early, and he committed to Troy and stuck by it. But several big schools tried to come back and get him, and that's why I've been talking about all along is that the new recruiting rules are perfect for Troy because they don't have to worry about losing these guys that come back, after these guys that committed to the smaller schools,
Yeah.
Yep.
But now what bothers me and what we cannot let happen is this rule they're trying to pass of letting a school have a transfer at least one time. Is that right?
That's right.
All sports.
I know that would not be good, though. What do you think? They could go and get your whole starting 11 if they wanted to.
That's right. Nothing to stop it.
Yep. Well, I think their argument is the coach sits there and tells a story and commits to a family and a kid. I think that's their argument.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when you think of the practical considerations of it, it would just open the proverbial can of worms if they did it. But they are certainly talking about doing it.
Mike, who is a good friend of Jason.
Every SEC coach, every single school in the country would have come after DeMarcus Ware going into his senior year.
Yeah, that's right.
Sophomore year, they would have known he was a player.
Oh, yeah, we lost. And let me tell you something. This number 2 we got, this linebacker, hey, somebody will grab him in a hurry.
I mean, can you imagine Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, Georgia, even Auburn, with this new rule? I mean, they could basically, to start their season, say, how many of these guys do we need to go after to fill spots?
Let's go at that linebacker, Troy, that's so good.
Well, you look at Alabama, that's who I pay the most attention to.
Marshall.
You say
Marshall.
Alabama is weak on has little depth on the defensive line and the outside linebacker. Well, what are you going to do? You're going to go look at all 130 Division I schools in America and see who has the best linebackers and defensive ends and go after them.
I want to mention our good friends at Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram trucks on the bypass. Believe you me, nobody will beat a Premier deal. And I tell you, I got one of those trucks and I love it. No question about it. We're talking to Mayor Jason Weaver from Scriven, Georgia. And Jason, who's going with you? Are you going by yourself, or what's going to happen?
Well, I'm trying to work it out to where the baseball coach here goes, because he's from Gainesville and he's a huge Gator fan. So he's got a middle school game, and if they can push that middle school game, then he'll be able to come with me. But if not, I'll be flying solo.
Well,
I travel around. I just got back from Nashville. I went to Nashville last week.
Did you drive or what?
Drive.
Yeah.
What'd you do in Nashville?
We went. My wife's office takes a trip every year, usually around Christmas. And 2 years ago they went.
Coffee.
Last year they went to Vegas, and this year they decided to go to Nashville, but decided to wait till February because the guy that owns the firm is an avid turkey hunter, so the NWTF banquet was going on at the Gaylord, so we went out there and stayed for a week at the Gaylord.
Hey, did you go to the hotel, the Upperland Hotel? Did you go there?
That's where we stayed.
Well, I'm sure they got the Christmas decorations down. You ought to go there for Christmas. It's awesome.
I heard they said it's unbelievable at Christmas. It's unbelievable. Right
Anytime.
Now. It was just. They said that was the largest hotel in the United States without a casino.
Well, I tell you what, you're right. It's really, really
my
nice.
wife and I, for our anniversary, took a trip to Nashville a couple of years ago. We saw Billy Joel in concert in Nashville.
I went to the Grand Ole Opry. I went to Honky Tonk Row. Went to all those music.
There ain't no way you like country music, man.
Did you go to the Country Music Hall of Fame?
I went to the Country Music Hall of Fame. Went to the Capitol.
Well, I know you.
Nashville is a happening town and city.
I ain't never seen so many people.
But so I keep saying, why can't Vanderbilt use that to its advantage and recruit?
I know. I tell you what was going on while I was there, which we had no clue because I don't know anything about this stuff. But the Predators were playing the Blues that apparently the Blues won the Stanley Cup last year.
Yeah.
Well, oh my goodness, it was packed on Sunday in downtown Nashville.
And you went?
No, I didn't go to the game, but I went. I was standing at Tootsie's, which was one of Willie Nelson's favorite places.
That's right.
And you can see the entrance to the stadium, and the whole downtown was just full of Predator and Blues fans. These people love hockey. I don't know anything about it.
Amazing. Well, right now it's snowing up there. It's snowing all over that part of the country right now.
My wife and I went a couple of years ago, and then, she's got some girlfriends from college that they take one of these girl trips every year, like your daughter's probably taking right now.
Yeah.
And they went to Nashville a couple of years ago for their getaway. And it snowed while they were up there that winter. But I remember you go to it's Broadway, I think. It's the main drag.
That's right, Broadway.
And it's all these honky-tonks and country music bars.
Yep.
But I didn't like it because it's just wall-to-wall people, kind of like Bourbon Street. But then you go in these places and you can't really, there's nowhere to sit and there's too many people.
Them things is 4 stories and they got somebody singing on every floor, each one of them.
Amazing.
It's just,
and there's 100 of them.
People.
Jason, I noticed that Troy has just signed an agreement with the Army, the cadets of Army, for 4 games. Can you believe that?
Oh,
wow. Playing home at Troy twice and at Army twice.
Well, that is a great bucket list trip. I've always heard is to go to West Point. Yeah. Beautiful campus and area.
Yeah.
So let's start saving up now to go watch out Troy and Army play football.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, we got Knoxville this year, right?
Yes, sir. That's gonna be fun, man. That's gonna be a lot of fun.
When is that game? What date?
Oh man,
I think it's early in the year.
I need to go ahead and start working on that one. I think it's in November, y'all.
I wish it was in September or October.
All right. I'm thinking though it's in November, but
after the leagues return.
Let's see.
November 20th or 7th.
21st.
21st. Okay, is that Thanksgiving weekend or the weekend after, before Thanksgiving, or what?
It's that I don't know. It's got to be the week before, don't it?
Yeah.
Don't you think that Coach Pruitt's wife is going to have all kind of people wanting to come up and stay with them?
Yeah, Coach Pruitt's wife's from about 5 miles from where we speak right now, or 6 miles.
She's from Banks, but she went to school in Troy.
Yeah, she's from Banks.
He's put on some weight. You seen him? The head coaching job's done him good.
Oh, really? Has it?
Yeah.
Well, he comes from Sand Mountain, Alabama. That's where he's from. That's over the hill country. That's where those
Thanksgiving is the 26th. So, and the game's the 21st.
Oh, 21st. Okay, I'm glad you told us, and we need to start working on that. Of course, our high school girls basketball team is playing for the state championship in the morning. Listen to this, though. They're playing in Birmingham, and the game's at 9 o'clock in the morning. Can you believe that?
Wow.
That means that almost everybody is probably going to have to go up and spend a night.
So how do you think they'll do it? They'll go to a hotel in Birmingham, wake up at, what, 4:30, 5?
Yeah, enough time to go get some breakfast.
Wake up, go to breakfast, get on the bus, it's a lot of hassle.
That's right.
And then you got to be there at least
Oh, you're talking about the team?
Yeah, an hour and 15 minutes. So they got to be there at 7:45.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
And then their fans, some of them, if you drove straight right now, leaving this studio and heading to Birmingham, it may be about 2 hours and 15 minutes if you don't have any kind of trouble. Mm-hmm. But let me tell you something. I-80, I-65 is notorious.
You're going to run into some trouble.
Trouble.
I recommend. We got NC State coming to Troy, huh?
That's right. I recommend that you go through Sylacauga and get on 80 in Sylacauga and go in that way. I think you'll miss out on a lot of the traffic problems. I really do. Of course, Brundage, Pike County High School, has a 6'8" kid, Jason. I hope Troy's recruiting him. And he's led them to the finals of the 4A state championship. They're playing a team from up north, Alabama, and that's Lauderdale County. Let me ask you this: in Georgia, is basketball pretty big?
It is. We made a little run to Sweet 16, but run up against what we call the University of Beaufort.
The University of Beaufort, South Carolina.
No, Beaufort High School in Georgia. So that's where a bunch of them star football players leave and go to the IMG from. I mean, it's a public school with private school rules. I mean, they just recruit left and right.
Well, let me ask this. Let me ask you this real quick. Are your schools in North Georgia better than the schools in South Georgia in basketball?
Yes, because they do this recruiting mess.
That's the way it is. That's the way it is in Alabama. Most of the time, the real good teams come from North Alabama.
They do.
Oh, that county that'll have 4 high schools within 2 miles, they get whoever they want and then they come play somebody like us that's got, 15 kids, and we're so rural that it's one school. 1,500 kids. We're 5'8". We're so rural that what we're choosing from. We're one county school versus 5, basically.
I want to mention Bill Jackson Chevrolet, Bill Jackson Ford in Troy on the bypass, and of course Jim Jackson, my good friend, and a huge Charles Henderson supporter and Pike County supporter, and ladies and gentlemen, looking for a Ford car truck, believe you me. Bill Jackson Chevrolet Ford is where you go, and whether or not it's whether or not you want a Chevrolet or a Ford. Believe you me, you'll find it at Bill Jackson Ford, Bill Jackson Chevrolet, right here in Troy.
And you just cross the street, cross the highway.
We're talking to the mayor of Scriven, Georgia, ladies and gentlemen, and he loves his Troy University. And
hey, Mayor, let me ask the mayor, how far are you from Savannah?
About 71 miles.
That's a happening town, tourist town.
Oh, you ain't kidding.
Now, how far are you from Statesboro, where Georgia Southern's located?
About an hour and a half.
Gosh, that's
I got some interesting news out of Georgia Southern. Actually, a former player yesterday.
All right, what happened?
This could be the year that they look at Lunsford hard.
You mean about whether to fire him or not?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you one thing about him, though. How in the world do you let a quarterback play that was dealing not in marijuana, but in the hardcore stuff?
Well, they said it was bird poop.
I know, but what was it though? Really, that's what they.
I don't know.
But it wasn't bird poop. That's what the kids were saying it, and that's cocaine. Would you let a kid play on your team if he used cocaine and was caught by the police? Oh, they ended up letting him play, and he played works.
Negative. He would not be playing.
but in that true that Wirtz got caught?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
him and that defensive lineman got in trouble in the same week. I don't think that defensive lineman ever made it back to the team.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, isn't that amazing that they let kids get by with that? I tell you, that's crazy.
It's crazy. I remember Alabama 10 years ago, early in Saban's tenure, he had a player that was the big drug dealer on campus.
Yeah.
Hey, what about Bobby Bowden? When Dion got in trouble down there and he went in that press conference that time and he said, hey, before y'all all start asking questions, let me get one thing straight. I'm going to punish Dion, but it ain't going to be on Saturday.
He was up front.
Exactly right. Exactly right. We're talking to the mayor of Scriven, ladies and gentlemen. You got to go to Scriven. I got a hat at home at my office with Scriven on it. Now listen to this. The mic's gone now, but you're very close friends with the major leaguer, one of the top pitchers in baseball. Is that right?
Yeah, Adam Wainwright.
Adam Wainwright pitches for
Cardinals.
With the Cardinals is from that area. Is that right?
That's right, from Brunswick. Glen
Brunswick,
Academy.
yeah.
Glen Academy.
Yeah. Now, Glen Academy, is that a private school?
No, no.
It's just called Glen Academy.
It's bigger than Wayne.
Yeah. And,
but now, is it a private school? Do they have tuition? Or, no.
It's a county school. They got Glen Academy and Brunswick High. Both of them are 6A, and it's just according to where you're zoned at, in Glen County to where.
But they call it. It's a public school, but it has the name Academy in it.
Yeah, because it's kind of set like a college. It doesn't have it's not like these schools now that are all one deal. And you might have a class across the street. I mean, it's an old historic downtown. It's pretty neat.
Cool.
Yeah, no question about it. Now, so you're not going to go to the Troy game tonight. You're going to wait to go tomorrow.
Well, that's my plan. But if something happens, I got a 10 a.m. my time meeting this morning, and if I get through and my wife says she ain't something, she's working late or whatever. I don't know. Who knows, Mike? And if something changes, I'll call you.
Yeah, call me and say, let's see what happens. If I could meet you, say halfway, I might do it, but I don't know.
Have you been to Gainesville many times, Mike?
Yeah, I've been there. To go to Disney World, you go right through Gainesville. Over the years. Isn't that right, Jason?
I don't know from your way, but from my way, no.
I mean, it's
my way. I would go to Disney World. I would just run 95 down to I-4 and run I-4 right over into Orlando.
And that's the banner.
Gainesville a different way.
Yeah.
My best friend Charles Bradshaw went to Florida for 1 year and played football under Charlie Pell. Then he transferred back to Alabama and became an intramural football player for the Signal News. But he always told me that he Gainesville wasn't the setting for him. I mean, he said it's really different. I mean, there's a lot of Yankees, or the people are not very Southern, like you would see in Georgia or Alabama or Mississippi in Gainesville, Florida.
A lot of them move there for the weather, don't they?
Yep.
No question about it. Well, let me tell you, I think you go 75, you hook on 75, on I-75.
You probably do. I'm going to look here and see for you.
I don't go to as many games as I used to, but people that go to a lot of SEC games say that the Florida fan base is just different than all the other fan bases of the other SEC teams.
Yeah. I tell you what, I really believe that first game is going to be so good that I might just drive down there for it and turn around and come back after the next day.
You can say that.
See, I've got a doctor's appointment in Birmingham on Monday.
Oh, that's
it's 4 hours and 54 minutes for you.
Yeah, that's right.
And the way it shows here, let's see.
But see, of course, you go to Dothan, get on I-10, and go, and then get off on 75 and go south, don't you?
You run 10 all the way to 75 and 75 all the way into Gainesville.
That's right.
If my kids were 5 years older, Mike, I would go down there with you, and we would have a good time. But
I got a 72-year-old kid. I'm joking. I got a wife go and have a little bit of say so, but
How far is that from your place in Florida? I mean,
about 4 hours.
You might can swing that away.
No, it's about 4
Still a
hours
long way,
from Panama City Beach and whatever. But it's going to be fun regardless. And I think I might can pull off that big widescreen deal too.
You can always listen to Jerry Miller. I love listening to baseball on the radio.
Yeah, I do too. And of course, there's a bunch of folks going to the South Alabama game. The girls and the boys play back to back.
Really?
Yeah.
They're a good rival.
Or starting tomorrow afternoon. I think I want to say the girls play at 4, and the boys play at 6.
Well, it'd be nice if the girls keep doing what they've been doing all year, and the boys finish on a good note.
I need to get that, though. I need to get that straight. I don't have today's paper, and so I don't really have the information. But
it's always nice to finish the season on a winning note with a little winning streak.
Yeah.
See, if I waited till tomorrow, I could catch the softball game before the baseball game. But tonight, the softball game starts at 30 minutes prior, so, I'd have to choose. But tomorrow, I could
So they've got a softball game going at the same time the baseball game's going on? Yeah,
on Friday and Sunday.
Alabama has that happening.
But that won't affect no crowds at in Gainesville, because I'm telling you, they're going to flood, the softball fans flood the softball field, and the baseball fans flood the baseball field.
Yeah.
This happens at, I guess, all schools, but the Alabama baseball team will be playing at the same time as the softball team. I checked the attendance the next day, and the softball team at Alabama has more fans than the baseball team did.
It might happen here on one of the games.
Well, I was looking at these schedules, and they've got women's softball and not men's baseball. So that surprises me a little bit there.
I tell you, I mean, have you been to the Raging Cajuns softball field in Louisiana, at their home field?
No.
Oh Lord.
Nice.
Is it really good?
Oh man, they get crazy out there.
Yeah, no question. Yeah. I think we're moving into 8:30 hours, so our show is going off the air. Stay on the air, if you will, Mayor. And ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed our show. You can watch it again today at 1:30, and we appreciate you so very much.
Good luck, Bulldogs and Trojans.
Our sponsors, Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep on the bypass right here, and Ram Trucks. Want you to come by and see a tremendous selection of Dodge, Jeep, Chrysler, and Ram trucks today. And hope you have a great weekend. See you Monday morning, bright and early, for Today in L.A.